Hello, everybody. I am Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube and Patreon by looking for Drew Duncan Radio. And you can also listen to me wherever you are listening to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play Drew Duncan on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Deezer, CastBox, Spreaker. I am wherever you're listening to podcasts. You can also check the links to my podcast in the description. The 49ers and Vikings. First of all, how many of us saw the 49ers coming this season? Right? I mean, didn't Richard Sherman say you want people, that are idiots to remain idiots? I don't think that we were idiots. I mean, to be fair, we hadn't seen anything. Garoppolo was seemingly injury prone. The football team just did not seem to be gelling together. They were making some offseason moves that really weren't seeming to, work out for them. And then defensively, they beefed up a little bit. Offensively, kind of remained the same for the most part. But to me, the thing is when I did my preview about this football team at the beginning of the season, and I think this was kind of it for all of us, right? Whether or not Jimmy Garoppolo could kind of take that next step. I mean, obviously there's a thing, right? When people leave New England, Bill Belichick gets rid of people for a reason, right? Isn't that the thing? That if you can't cut the mustard in New England for whatever reason, then you're not going to make it anywhere else. Now, there were a lot of people that believed that Jimmy Garoppolo leaving New England was different, though, right? They believed that it was Bill Belichick, knowing that Brady still had some left in the tank, was giving this kid an opportunity to go somewhere else and prove what he's worth, right? That's the difference. That's the difference. So the way that I see it is now it's time for them to take that step. And really, it's that way for both quarterbacks. Is it not? Is it not that way for both quarterbacks in this football game? Yeah, you may like that. You may like that, right? But Kirk Cousins has just as much to prove in this football game. I think this game is going to boil down to the two quarterbacks. I really do. I talked about the running game earlier with Seattle. I'm going to talk about it really for a lot of football teams. And as good as both of these teams have been at running the football this year, one of the best that are left in terms of the NFL in rushing, right? Them and the Ravens. You start looking at those teams, running the football is going to be a huge factor. But I think both of these guys are going to have to play quarterback today. This weekend. And I say that because I think both of these teams defensively are going to come in going, you know what, you're just not going to run the football on us. You're not going to run these screen plays. You're not going to do this simple stuff. You're not going to, you're going to have to drop back, read our defenses. You're going to have to make adjustments at the line of scrimmage. We are going to give you some looks that you're not used to seeing, something that you're not familiar with. We're going to throw some new things at you guys, and we're going to see what you're really made of. And I think that's going to happen defensively for both teams. This is not going to be an easy win for really either team. Whoever wins this football game, believe me when I tell you, they truly earned it. Both quarterbacks are going to have to be very clean, no turnovers, because if you start turning the football over in this game, I don't know that the comebacks are there. I watched Minnesota come back against Denver. I watched Minnesota lose a lead, though, to the New Orleans Saints, and a lot of people feel that they, kind of had the refs go their way in that football game. I don't necessarily think so with that pass interference call, but I do know for a fact that they missed a horse collar hold on that very same drive that helped put them in a position with the play that spurned them down inside the goal line to put them in position to win the football game. That's the play that I was looking at. But you're here now. What is the idea? You're going to have to play quarterback. You're going to have to drop back. You're going to have to make plays with your legs. You're going to have to scramble around. You're going to have to be patient in that pocket. You're going to have to trust your offensive line. These running backs on both football teams, they're going to have to step up and block. That is all there is to that. They are going to have to step up and block. These guys are not just going to be shooting gaps for blitz packages. Both of these teams, I think, are going to line up some corners. They're going to line up some safeties. They're going to bring pressure where you wouldn't expect it. I think we're going to see defensive ends drop back into coverage. I think they're going to do a lot of things that are out of the realm of the norm. I don't know how much zone we're going to see out there. We may see a lot of man-to-man with some of these blitz packages. Now, that could be a very huge risk-reward, right? Especially when you've got Thielen and maybe Diggs. We'll kind of see how this is going to play out, obviously. I mean, Minnesota's been holding some guys out from practices this week. I think that Kirk Cousins is really starting to feel the pressure. I think it is beginning to mount. I think that what he needs to do is just stay relaxed. There's all this stuff about he can't beat teams with a winning record. He doesn't do good in primetime games. Well, right now it's the playoffs, so every game is primetime. And with this particular season, every team has a winning record. And with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's really the same thing. Man, we paid you a lot of money for only 4 games. Great, we're in the playoffs. Now it's time to win playoff games. I mean, there's a lot of pressure for both of these quarterbacks going into this game. And I don't think that it can be overstated. Whoever wins this game had the better quarterback play. And normally I'm a guy that's all about running that football, but I really believe that both of these teams will just be too prepared for that. I don't think that it's going to be one of those games where you can really ground and pound and slug it out. I think you need to assert yourself dominantly early on. I think you need to try and hit some big pass plays. And I think that you need to go over the middle early and often. You need to test that defense for both teams. Put pressure on them. Make them back up so that way you can use some of that passing game to get to the running game. I really think that could be the primary keys to victory for both of these teams in this game. Guys, I am Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. You can find me on YouTube and Patreon. Search for Drew Duncan Radio. Additionally, you can find me wherever you are listening to podcasts. Simply tell your device to play Drew Duncan on Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio. I am wherever you're listening to podcasts, and I have links in the description. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.